We are live.
Yeah, it's gonna take a while, but we're here. Yeah, dude, I like this hat. I like how it looks. I like it. The hat game is strong. All right, well, we take a few minutes. Mom, I love you. My parents love you. Shout out your family if you want. Mr. Mayor.
Yeah, I got 2 new granddaughters.
Oh,
Yeah, shout out to them. Cameron,
you want to
Tatum.
pull the mic up a little bit more?
Yep.
I think he turned him up a little bit.
He did. He got him. Okay.
Yeah.
What's it feel like?
Oh man, it's the best thing that ever happened to me. You know,
What's your
I hear a lot of people talk about their grandchildren. You know, and you don't really realize what it's about until you experience it. Cameron, the oldest one, she's 15 months, and Tatum, she's 4 months. So it's 2 girls. All we have is girls in our family.
Do they call you Pawpaw or?
Pawpaw's the name, yeah.
So Scott's Pop Hair.
Up there, yeah.
So like it's Pop Hair. So I mean,
Pup hair.
yeah, it's just look. My mom's Nanny, and I was growing up with my mom Pawpaw.
Right.
Pup hair.
Pop Hair is Scott's name. Yeah. Pop Hair for Oliver. It's Pop Hair. He wanted the name.
See French?
I don't know.
He is now.
Yeah, what that means. But all right, this is gonna be pretty huge, guys. Tonight
Big one.
we got. I mean, you're from Ocean Springs,
Yes, sir.
Porter Avenue.
Right down the street. I lived downtown when it wasn't cool to live downtown.
I know.
Yeah. You gotta do that.
Music by Plowed. Magnolia Room Speakeasy. Airbnb Bosses. Drinx. Shout out to John. DirectAuto. Go see Michael West. Collision Depot. They will fix and repair to the highest standard. The District Coffee Company, downtown Ocean Springs, and the new location, Pascagoula. Captain Al's, Gulfport, Mississippi. Go see Stacy and Bert.
We offer home, auto, motion, builders, whips, and life accessories.
Join our podcast with McCade Hibbert and Anthony Potera.
Oliver's homeschooled now, and so Anthony's gonna pick us up in the morning. And Oliver loves the golf cart, Phil. I mean, that's one of the coolest things about Ocean Springs is that freedom of the golf carts.
You only experience it on the golf course.
You really do.
Yeah, it's different. It hits different.
Yeah.
Mayor Kenny Holloway's live tonight on the podcast. City mayor, what, 4 years, right?
3.5.
3.5.
Yep.
How's it feel to be mayor?
It depends on what day it is. You know, some days are good, some days not so good, but I've enjoyed it. Glad to be doing it. Glad to serve. Seems like I've been serving all my life in different capacities, so it just kind of comes natural to me and my family.
Do you feel, you know, I remember when you ran. It's a lot of work. I mean, you're what's the population of Ocean Springs?
Right at about 19,500. It's we just annexed north of Government up Ocean Springs Road, 57, and then south around the high school. So we picked up about 1,200 population.
Okay. Should have. I mean, I know Gosha got it, but I was wondering if Ocean Springs was going to get the Coke plant.
No, it's only Go Shake
I
Time.
know.
Yeah.
What was that?
Annex, so it's add more to like, cause you know, it's the county. So
Yeah.
the city. Like,
What plant did you say?
Coke plant? There's a Coke plant.
Oh, okay.
Right by the.
I didn't know that.
So, so there's a lot of county people. So annexing, certain areas, you add to the cities.
Right.
Which I like the county, but you know, it is nice to have be a part of a city. That's just how's that work on the annex? Like y'all just think about it, y'all drive. I mean, how's all that process work?
Well, we have a consultant that looks at it and identifies the geographical boundaries that make sense. We kind of tell them what we're thinking. then they crunch the numbers and let us know whether it's going to be feasible. This annexation was very, very good as far as the financial aspect of it goes. We're in the black from day one, so there's not a period of trying to catch up. We had a lot of flow, call it spillover development in Ocean Springs that was going on outside of the corporate limits. We only had 11% available land that we could grow on, build on, and that's extremely low for a city. Normally, a city starts looking at annexation about 35%. So, we got a lot of folks that were using city resources but not paying city taxes. So, your parks and rec primarily. So it was well overdue. City hadn't annexed any property in over 20 years.
Wow.
And cities have to grow geographically and financially. So it made sense for the city.
You took that initiative?
Yes. Yeah. There's a lot of opportunity for growth in the future. It'll probably be beyond me, but that's what cities do.
Yeah, well, if you're not growing, you're dying, right?
Exactly. Yeah.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Cities have to, it's just like any other, like your business, if you don't have revenue, you can't pay the bills, you can't pay the rent, you can't pay the utilities. You can't decorate this place as cool as y'all got it decorated, so.
Don't let these micro walls fool you. This might have been a lazy Christmas
If these walls could talk.
You can't buy coffee if you can't sell it,
That's it.
I think so. And that was another thing because you do population grows. There's a time where Ocean Springs where you can buy a house for $150,000, $100,000 down here. Now you can buy, a house. The market's insane.
Well, it depends on where you are, but you talk about the population growing. We didn't have anywhere to grow. Our population inside the city limits grew like 3% in the period of census, 10 years, because there's just nowhere to grow. All the growth is out in the county, north of Fort Bayou, Gulf Hills area, and St. Martin, Gulf Park Estates, all that area. It's exploding with houses. So,
How do you feel? So, with that being said, is there any access to land besides 57? Which now it's majority is all Ocean Springs, but where can you get an acre of land in Ocean Springs? It's got to be there, the county.
Pretty much, yeah. There's some pretty good sized parcels inside the city limits now, but it's out into the east of Ocean Springs.
Okay, you got a question?
I was just thinking of that area Justin was talking about. There's a ton of development happening, like hundreds of houses coming up. He said, back there by.
Is it probably back there behind the hospital and all that?
Yeah,
back in that area.
maybe so.
Yeah, there's some houses being built in there.
Well, that makes sense because the real estate, like Jordan says, so strong right here downtown. Middle class American could afford out there still, though, so you can still be a part of Ocean Springs.
Oh, absolutely. Yeah.
What is the median price? Was it $500,000 for a historical home here, or is it more?
Oh, no, it's got a lot less than that. I would say probably a medium house, and I should know this, being in the real estate business also, but I would say it's probably $160,000. Maybe 180.
No, I was talking about downtown.
Oh, downtown?
Yeah, that's a different story.
Well, downtown is a different animal.
You're looking at probably
there's not a lot
there.
of available land. It's all built out. What we're seeing downtown right now is older structures that are, have been neglected. They're deteriorating. People come in and buy it. They either strip it down to the studs and rebuild around it, or they just tear it down and rebuild.
Do you feel? So your family home was Porter, right?
That's right.
Well, do you remember when you were here your whole life? How old was that house? Like your parents' home?
That house is probably about 80 years old. Yeah. but it's nothing historical about it. That used to be Highway 90. There was another house that was up on Porter that my parents originally were living in, and they ended up buying that. The lot's very deep, so they built a house to the south of it, and then tore that front house down. The house is only 1,400 square foot, so it's you would think I thought it was a big house. Our family thought it was a big house, but that's where families were at that point. One bathroom, a couple bedrooms. Everybody shared a room, kind of stuff like that.
Did they have a bar back then? Was there a bar there? I mean,
no. Willie Willie Dale's had a bar, which is where Bradford O'Keefe is.
Okay.
Really?
Yeah.
The bar.
I didn't. Mr. Jeff never told me that.
There was some other stuff going on in there too, I hear.
So everyone's saying Porter Avenue is going to be the new government street before long. Do you see that happening?
I don't know. It's a lot of residential still in there, and I think that'll stay. But Ocean Springs only has as far as the entertainment district goes, I think it's going to stop at whatever happens on Pine Street. I think that'll be your eastern border, and then the Collective down on Porter. Government Street on the other side, but on Pine. But on Porter down by the Collective, I think that's a pretty good boundary there. It may go down to the yacht club, but that remains to be seen.
Who just picked that land up down there by the yacht club?
It's been under contract. It hadn't sold yet.
Yeah. The parking garage, I think it's getting real close down there behind 1515. Is it 200 something parking spots?
Yeah, it's a little over 200.
So when that gets released and everybody can park there,
Mm-hmm.
there's an ordinance right now that doesn't permit to expand your footprint, if you're down here, without creating parking spots. And that makes it very difficult because I think the ordinance says the parking spots have to be with 300 feet of your structure. And it's hard to create land.
Right.
We're doing an expansion here for a second level, and it's all been approved. But it would have died. It would have been dead in the water had I not worked the deal with Kenny and them back here and got the sublet.
Right.
4 spots from them. Do you think when that garage opens up, would you be in favor of probably voting that out to make it easier for some of the downtown businesses? Should they want to expand or go up's pretty much the only option?
Yeah. For one thing, in this form of government, it's a weak mayor, a strong council. And so the only time I ever vote is in a tie situation.
Right.
I've only had to do that 2 times since I've been elected. In downtown Biloxi, I don't think they have a parking requirement. Mm-hmm. And people walking is not a bad thing.
No.
We've got parking downtown. We got parking behind City Hall, behind the WAMA. We've got parking a little north. So people want to park right in front of wherever they're going. I think the foot traffic is good because it allows people to experience other shops and restaurants and stuff like that. They may not know they're there because they're not walking in front of it.
Right. Well, that's what the downtown.
I think most towns, downtown areas like that, they don't have a parking requirement. It's just find a spot to park and walk.
So going off that, how do you feel about the one way?
Maybe getting rid of it, being that we're going to have a parking garage.
I would think eventually they'll probably have to get rid of it.
Yeah.
The parking requirement, for sure.
The residential parking is a problem because that's where people you want to be able to park if you have a condominium or you're renting an apartment or whatever. You want to be able to park by your residence.
For sure.
Well, Kay was bringing up a point too. Is like there were talks of like for loading truck, like for here, for instance, like somebody pulls up, whether it's UPS, FedEx, food, Cisco, Coastal Foods, whatever group. Do you ever think that Ocean Springs would ever go like back in the day? They did that for the beach, like one way, Is that going to happen? Is that something nobody else
This
do?
is a big question you
Well,
get a lot of.
back when the beach was one way, I was in high school then, so I remember that well. That beach has always been extremely busy. I mean, it's not near as busy now as what it used to be back in the 70s. I mean, it was
Yeah.
bumper to bumper. Everybody from around the coast, all the teenagers, that's where you did just round and around and around. But there probably at some point Government Street might be one way, but you can't loop it through to Porter because you pull it back through a neighborhood basically, and that's not going to fly. If you shoot them out to 90, they're probably going to leave, so that's not going to fly. So Robinson maybe, Robinson might be a good loop at some point. The parking garage is going to free up about 140 or 150 spaces that are not going to be designated just strictly for that complex there. So that's a pretty good bit of parking though.
I think so.
Yeah.
You got all the parking behind Hancock Bank too that people don't realize in the evening, that all that stuff's available.
Well, I think the big thing is, one of the biggest events down here is the Peter Anderson Festival, and I think a lot of people do, or Mardi Gras. I mean, it is literally just a shit show when it comes to parking because it's such a big. I mean, it's by far got to be the largest art show in the South, right? It's up there.
It's if not the largest one of them.
What's the population of the Peter Anderson Festival? Do you know?
I have to ask Cynthia about that, but I think at any given day, you probably, every given weekend, it's over 100,000.
Yeah,
It feels like that.
that's what it feels like. Yeah,
Look, I know a lot of people.
Yeah.
A lot of business owners need. You know what I mean? It's a big deal.
I thought it was 70. Though.
I mean, it's like, Oxford, normal day, normal traffic. Football weekend, it's gridlock, and that's kind of what the Peter Anderson does.
But those big events, they expect to walk. But the garage for us would be so helpful because, like, your weekdays, there's truly nowhere to park. I mean, unless you want to upset somebody and ignore their signs. So I can't wait. Well, we're also going into 1515, so I like the way they set that up because the garage, you got to walk through the food court.
Right.
So it seems redundant that we would be there and here, but they were going to do coffee anyway. So
Yeah, that facility has been under some scrutiny. That project actually started about 8 years ago.
I heard that.
As far as the funding of it and the planning of it, it's gonna. I think people once it's done, people are gonna be very happy with what Jim and John have done there. For us to get, I'll tell you a little story. I was shopping for some outdoor kitchen appliances over in Gulfport, and I get a call, and it's Hardin, and he says, "Hey, I got the guy from Desi Vegas on the phone. I got him here." He said, "Can you talk to him on the phone?" And I said, "What do you want me to talk to him about?" He said, "Well, he's thinking about he's either going to put a restaurant. They like Biloxi or they like Ocean Springs, and we want to put them in 1515. He said, "You mind talking to him a little bit?" So Desi and I start talking, and I tell him what I'm doing, and we start talking about pizza ovens because I was looking at a pizza oven, and he had one at his kitchen outside, and we're talking about grilling oysters in them and so forth. And he said, "So I'm thinking about either Ocean Springs or Biloxi." And I said, "Dude, you don't want to go to Biloxi." I said, "You want to be in Ocean Springs." I said, "We've got, the foot traffic. And if you don't know Desi Vegas, they're right in the warehouse district. I mean, it's a first class steakhouse."
I've only heard good things. Yeah, Chef Todd was raving about them. We can't wait.
They're outstanding. So anyway, he says, I said, we got the foot traffic, and it's kind of like that vibe in the warehouse district where you walk in and it's restaurants and bars and hotels and stuff like that. And he says, "Well, do you think I can get a $50 steak?" You think I can get $50 for a steak? I said, heck, Kenny Williams get $50 for a steak any time of the day. He said, all right, good then. And sure enough, here he is. It's our first venture outside of New Orleans, I believe.
Okay, cool.
That's incredible.
So that development, so that's like, you look at like, so it's one of the things like whether it's the sands at Front Beach or new development coming, that's coming. You can't stop development. I mean, that's one thing I've learned is like, because especially if you come to those Springs, I mean, y'all are in every damn magazine. I mean, it's like South Mississippi Live, like or Charm or all around. It's like named like one of the best downtown cities. Like it's a tourism. I mean, you told me this. Like you and Kay were talking about. Like
I can be here and I get people from the UK, Croatia, Australia, like dude, France.
70% tourism.
And I asked them,
That's what we got.
What brought you? Because it's not like it's just an exit. I said they had to come about 10, 15 minutes south from I-10. And they like to travel, and they say that the town promotes itself as they look for small town, the appeal, like the little cafe, coffee shop,
right.
Kind of artsy kind of, and they're it's incredible. And on the weekends, we're showing like 70% new customers. So that's all, I'm going to assume, tourism.
Yeah.
And the chamber does an incredible job of promoting. Like we love Cynthia and Danny over there, and I've never been a part of a chamber that actually hustled for you like they do.
Right. Yeah, they do a good job. They sure do. Growing up downtown and go back down to Washington and Government, where Fred's building is with the office and all that. That used to be a gas station there. Sell tires, stuff like that. Fred and I, and Fred, you got to give Fred Moran, kudos for kind of starting the redevelopment downtown. And like he told me, he said, Kenny, you and I used to be able to walk across Highway 90 right there in Washington in our underwear, and nobody'd see us, much less run over us. And it's just started evolving. It really took off after Katrina.
That's what we heard.
It really took off after Katrina. But Ocean Springs has always been a tourist city since it was incorporated, and it's always seen these growth spurts. The steamships. Steamboats would come in, and that was one of the growth spurts. And then the trains. When the trains started coming to Ocean Springs, that was another growth spurt. And that's what we're in right now. We're in a growth spurt, just like Ocean Springs has evolved over time. It's got its limits. I think it's got its limits on where it can go as far as downtown. And I think we're at this point, there's no available land. It's just going to be refurbishing, rehabbing, rebuilding existing buildings. But Ocean Springs is not going to lose its charm. The charm of Ocean Springs is the people and the trees and by the water. I mean, you can't replace that.
Tater nut.
Yeah, well, that's part of it too.
The tater nut's a big part of it.
But the train statement just reminded me of something. Did we miss the boat on the Amtrak? The passenger train?
No, it's coming.
It's going to stop here?
No, it's not going to stop here, but it's going to be.
Okay.
It's going to stop in Pascagoula and stop in Biloxi.
Okay. So our shop is right there.
Pascagoula. And Cam's renovating that over there, and we love Cam. What is the reason it doesn't stop here? I mean, we have such a perfect infrastructure.
We don't have a building.
So
you got to have that. Biloxi's got that combination where the train and the bus stations is.
Yeah.
Pascagoula's got their rebuilding there. Where it would stop here would be where the depot is now, but the chamber's in there, and you got an art shop in there. So we really don't have the facility for that train to stop that close to Biloxi.
Yeah, well, I'm sure there's a lot of things that go into play on that. To me, I'm just like, that's the visitor center right there. Let them out.
Yeah, that would be.
Right here.
It sounds like it was.
Shut on
Yeah.
golf cart.
Everything would be off the table though. If like if when they start doing it and it gets popular in private school, you ever think it'd be one like maybe that it would be a stop in the future?
I would love for it to be a stop. But
It would be
that's
sick.
going to be
just thinking if
CSX and
you stop at a
Amtrak.
fast food.
They're going to have to figure that out.
Yeah, I mean, I'm learning a little bit about like MDOT when it comes to bridges. They own underneath the bridge. Yeah, the cities don't. I mean, there's a lot of like. I guess it would be the same way with the trains. They have their rights.
They do. They own the track. They own the right of way.
Yeah.
They're regulated by MDOT.
So that'd be cool, like just to like swing by and be like, "Hey, I'm going to New Orleans today.
That'd be so sick, man.
Let's hop on the train. I'll be back."
I've never ridden on a train.
I haven't either.
I'm excited. I can't wait.
I haven't either.
No, Corey
It's
Christie,
kind of a rare thing around here. Yeah.
Corey Christie and Lauren, which Corey's running in Biloxi, but like they take their like vacations, like they'll go get a train. They'll do a whole vacation on the train.
Sounds amazing.
It's cheaper. I mean, we never had that. You know,
Seems safer than planes these days.
yes, it is. Yes, it is. If I see another thing,
It might be too
If I
soon.
see another
Yeah,
plane
it's
crash, I'm never
TikTok.
flying again.
Yeah.
Man.
so do you like being the mayor? Do you enjoy it? Like, I mean, it's got to be. I mean,
He's running for office.
I know, but it's like it's a lot of work.
I enjoy the business part of it. I enjoy the business part of it, and the politics part of it, I don't care for much. I love being able to go to Jackson and work on behalf of the city, for grants and so forth. We've done extremely well in that area. So I like dealing with the business part of it.
Do you go up there and try to get more money for the city?
I do.
He's shaking them down.
Him and Hank Zuber, man, they're like just like these two dynamic. Like, yeah, I've heard that. Like, 'cause that's what you do. You have to go up there and be like, hey.
I was up there so much 2 years ago. The speaker almost gave me an office in the Capitol.
But that's what it takes, though, right?
Exactly, that's what it takes. Yeah, I mean, you gotta build the relationships, and you got to go up there, and and you got to sell your product. And our product's Ocean Springs, and it's an easy sell, because they know it's a good investment. I was sitting in Lieutenant Governor's office one day, and Delbert looks at me and he says, I said, "We need this and that, Governor." And, he looked at me and he said, "Well, how do you propose to pay that back, Mayor?" And I said, "Sales tax, Governor." I said, "We're a good investment. We're going to send some sales tax up here to you, additional sales tax." And we got the money.
Do you think do you think I know about Jackson. It's the way you talk and handle too that brings the money.
Yeah.
I mean, you can't just go up there and be like, "I need money." They're not. It's a business. Everything's a business. City, life, everything's a business, right?
You got to have a plan, and you got to have good projects. It's competitive. I mean, everybody's going up there for their projects, and it's competitive, and so you've got to have something that makes sense to them and will add value. Along the coast, we've got all of the coast. We're all and Billy Hughes coined that phrase, "one coast," which is right. We've got to be competitive, but we got to with each other, but we got to realize what's good for us and what's good for them. It's good for everybody. So no question, Ocean Springs is successful because of Biloxi, because of Ingalls, Chevron, where people can work and earn a good wage. The casinos bring tourists down here, so those folks, spill over in Ocean Springs. The military base is a huge generator of tax revenue for the state and for the Gulf Coast. So everybody's got their own little niche. We're a bedroom community. We're a tourist town. Fortunately, we have the best school district in the state. We've got a great medical community. So, we've got a place that's very attractive for people to come and live.
I love it here. I mean,
How'd you find out about it?
You, Jordan.
Was it you?
It was. Yeah. No, he left when we got here. He left. Remember?
So they had a DACA shop in Long Beach.
Yeah.
This is when me and you were hanging out back in the
we
day.
invested in Long Beach, and I didn't know. You know, I mean, I'm from North Mississippi, so I didn't know anything, truthfully. But when I came down here and I found this little town, it reminded me so much of Oxford. And that's what I did my undergrad. And but Oxford without the NC, you know, sorority, fraternity, NCAA, all the BS, but 2 beaches and just, you know, like I fell in love. And I was like, how do I get on this street? And then so for 10 years, I was always trying to figure it, you know. Was in Long Beach, breaking even. Like you can eat there.
You don't even want to know.
You win.
Yeah.
But just the timing laid out with the right people of a referral of somebody knowing somebody and somebody wanting to get out of here. A lot of people probably know who that was, but
and you got to get to the boys too, though, because like when I'm both boys, you know, Kay lives over there at the Keg and Barrel condos.
Yeah,
and he has a house on Holcomb. Yeah, but it's like when he drives that road, he was talking about the signs in the road.
mm-hmm.
When I ride with him to his house, take his 2 huskies out and stuff, he's giddy the whole time because he loves driving through there. He's like smiling. He's
driving through the harbor. And
bad mood.
We call it Rainbow Road. We call it Rainbow Road, man.
Rainbow Road from Mario Kart. You go across the harbor bridge and all the seagulls are roosting.
The trees, yeah, it's incredible.
And then there's a totally undeveloped road with a gigantic bayou. I mean, like,
what city has that?
I don't know. I won't find out.
I don't want to.
What up, Cloud? Thank you for the music. Hey, Donna. But no, that's what I'm saying. You get
I do, man.
Every time you go, like I'm telling you, like it's from both of them. They work so much that it's it. So it's like their whole life is the coffee shop, home.
Oh, I know. I see them all over the place.
Yeah, but it's like they both have the same smile where they're like, "I'm home." Huh?
He understands the work ethic.
Yeah. But that's just cool to me. It's just like you look over and he's like driving down the road and he's just smiling because this is a beautiful place.
What I tell you, I know. I don't know how I'm gonna die, but this is where I'm gonna die. I love it here.
Well, that's a $10 question. How are you gonna die?
So long as here, I'm good.
Probably making his last cup of coffee. I don't know.
Probably gonna hit oranges. It's just. I mean, it is a place. And I always mess with them. It's like I go to Long Beach, and I would always. That's when I was living this way, and I'd always be like, "Dude, Ocean Springs is it."
Rochambeau's.
And I left. I wouldn't go for it, but Hops and Growers came. Scott's like on Cook Road. I'm like, "You got to come here too," and he's down there, and it was just like, "Well, I'm still here. Okay, I'm still here. I've been here with y'all. I'm back. Yeah, I'm back. This is my favorite. This is my favorite city. It's wow. It's a city where. Okay, well, I was telling them how I met you. I mean, back in the day, like I met you and Bobby, and the way y'all treated me. It's just something about hospitality here it's just different. It's there's no
whole different culture.
Yeah, it's like, hey, how's your day? And there's a greeting. There's open the door. It's just got a culture of like love. This is the most beautiful to me. It's like every day. I don't care if it's a Monday. I don't care if it's a Saturday. It's that place where you're like you feel at home.
Yeah, Ocean Springs has always been like that.
Yeah.
You know, kind
appreciate
of
the city.
A gem, a diamond in the rough initially. Now the diamond's shining. It's been buffed out.
It's getting attention now.
It's getting attention.
It's getting too much attention. We gotta calm down.
I went to the door box last night and had anxiety the whole time. I had to go across the bridge.
Yeah.
Hey, Kenny,
he did.
Hey, Kenny, why don't you hop on your golf cart? Come, we're live at the district.
Kenny's on there?
Yeah.
Kenny?
Oh.
Howard?
No, the Kenny with the $50 steak.
Oh, Williams.
Oh,
Hey, hop on your golf
we
cart.
don't have another mic for him. He'll take up every mic in the place.
Hey,
come on down here.
We're here. We're live right now. There says, "Come on down." No, it is this. Yeah, it's the most. Oh man, like I always tell people too. And it's not just this place. Like I get so much feedback from the district and how like the coffee. Like you have couples from Biloxi. I mean, it's just the way they treat them, the work ethic. But like it's so cool. Like tater nut. Tater nut is. You want a donut? It's tater nut.
and then they bring us.
Dude, they
donuts
closed
and
down
we
the other
send-
day and just gave us a whole box of
we send
donuts.
people
Like,
in.
y'all can't be doing this.
We know our logistics guys, FedEx and UPS, and we know them personally. And if something's missing or they'll text me and say, "Hey, it's on the truck tomorrow." Like I mean, dude, it's incredible. Like, and we're gonna bring those guys on.
Okay, yeah. We got.
Hey, Kenny, you coming? Because I mean, I know you're around. You're here. You're more than welcome, Kenny. But he's a big part of it too. From what's Kenny have now?
Kenny?
11 mosaics,
Evergreen.
Red Apple.
I love Kenny.
Red Apple.
If
Yeah.
Kenny and Taylor hadn't given me the sublease back here, my deal would have been dead in the water. We wouldn't even have got
Mm-hmm.
able to even be looked at. So
Yeah.
that with that parking ordinance, so they did me
We've
a
got,
real solid day.
Kenny, Will, Collier, Heath, y'all,
Yeah.
a bunch of young entrepreneurs. No, Kenny's not that young, but
Ooh,
bunch of
Kenny.
young
Shots fired.
entrepreneurs.
Shots fired.
And
Kenny's on his way.
that's great. I'm gonna say this. I'm gonna give it up. I'm 64 years old in February 2nd.
Well, you look great.
Well, thank you.
I'm sure you hear that a lot, but I really didn't think you were.
And
Right.
so I graduated from Motion Springs High School in 1979. Went off to Millsaps, went to college, and there were no jobs here. There was nothing to come back to unless you had your own business or your family business, or you went to work at the shipyard. So I found a job in Jackson with Allied Signal, major corporation. Lived in Jackson for 4 years, moved to New Orleans for a year, and then Dallas for 6 years. And then I got to come back. And so that's what we've got to be thankful for in the growth that we've experienced, because now there's something to come back for. You can come back and make a decent living here and not have to depend on your family or whatever it might be. So it's a different world, and it's going to continue to be a different world. What we've got to do is make sure we manage the growth and keep the charm, which, contrary to popular belief, sometimes that's all we're concentrating on. We didn't create all this. I told Connie Moran the other day, I said, Connie, I didn't create all this. I said, you created this. You were here after Katrina. You were here when this thing first started developing, and she had some great ideas. And, it's just been kind of going from that point on. So, we're
Just moving in that direction.
You talk about Oxford, Mayor Tannehill and I, we often joke with each other. I told you, I said, you're the north of the south. I'm the north. I mean, you're the O of the north. I'm the O of the south. And if I didn't live in Ocean Springs, I'd want to live in Oxford. And she says, if I didn't live in Oxford, I'd want to live in Ocean Springs. So it is unique. Those two cities are probably, and I'm gonna brag on Ocean Springs. I said we're probably the two best places to live in the state of Mississippi.
That is,
Well, I ain't been everywhere, but
you can't argue with that.
I'm
I don't
biased.
think.
It's in
Yeah, I
the
mean,
country, man.
yeah. You're, what is it voted? Best small town in America or
best
something like that?
small-
Coastal
What is it?
city.
Something like that?
We've been nominated for so many bests lately. I can't
Like-
keep up with them.
Well, Oxford ain't really fair. They got everywhere to grow. There's nothing.
They do.
rural. I didn't recognize the town, and I did my undergrad there. And we went and rode around with the realtor about a year and a half ago, and I didn't know where we were. I lived there for almost 4 years, and it's crazy.
Well,
how it's growing.
think about this. Think about if you took right here and you drew a radius of 15 miles. Most of it's out in the Gulf.
Yeah,
The only way to grow is east and west and north.
I
So,
don't know.
and with the highway system and the road system, it's pretty much just east and west.
Great point.
I want to pull up a few things though. It's like if you look in the local media at times, I mean, you get a lot of flack for whether you're real estate, having a real estate developer, or it's topics brought up. I mean, you are the mayor. You're going to get shots at you all the time. It's part of being a mayor. You've been doing real estate there for a long time. How long have you been doing real estate?
About 12 years, 15 years.
Yeah. How do you? I've just seen, I've seen stuff, talking about, you you in real estate, and it's always, it really is. Every time there's an article, it's always like you in a photo. It don't even have to be you. It's just,
Sometimes it's not me.
But what's your thought on that? I mean, you did real estate before you were the mayor.
Right. Yeah. That's how I made my living. I've had several businesses. Some of them have been very successful. Some of them have not been. And the ones that are not, you learn from that. You move on, and you do something different. But I've only had one development that I've done in my whole life, and that's the one on Porter. It's not like I've developed a bunch of properties, mainly property management, sales, consulting, stuff like that. But I think it's an advantage for me.
Yes.
Because I've been places, I've seen different things. I know what works. I know what doesn't work. I can name towns that didn't have a plan, and that's what they look like now. They didn't have a plan. And then you can look at towns that have a plan, and they work their plan, and they're Fairhope, or they're Madison, they're Oxford. They've had a plan, and they've developed to be great cities. So I think it's an advantage because I've lived in Dallas, I've lived in New Orleans. I know what happens there, and it can't happen here. So I mean, you get beat up. It's part of it. You're gonna get beat up.
I mean, spoiler alert: I'm a Donald Trump fan, but I mean, why is he good at this? Because he has experience in the business. I mean, if you're in charge of a town, you don't understand real estate, that's going to be a problem for you.
Sure.
So I think it's great.
And I think, me being out in different parts of the South is an advantage. I haven't been in Ocean Springs my entire life, so I know other things except for just what's happened here and what goes on here. So I've been outside the bubble and I've been able to see it. And I think, that'll work in Ocean Springs, and no, that won't work in Ocean Springs. That's good for us, and no, that's not good for us. So
that if I could touch on that Front Beach Marina project,
mm-hmm.
Is that totally been voted down, or is trying to be modified, or where it's on the table?
Well, the marina portion of it not getting enough support from elected officials. So that's probably not going to happen. There'll be some development on the old Fayards property. What that's going to look like, we're still waiting to see how the permitting comes out. Maybe another pier. Some pavilion, outdoor space. It's a beautiful place to watch the sunset.
No,
that piece of property. And then at Fort Maurepas, we've that's one thing that people don't realize, and Jordan knows because he knows I've been in Jackson a bunch. Between Jackson and what we've lobbied for in Washington, we've been able to get $32 million worth of grant money in Ocean Springs in 3 years. That's huge.
Grant money.
He's a shark up there.
That's huge.
Sexy, man. Grant money, that's sexy.
Yeah,
that's what I'm saying. It's a shark.
That means you don't have to pay for that stuff with your taxes.
Right. That's one of them.
So,
I love the word grant before money.
No, that's what it is. Because you have to go up there. You have to go up there and you have to play your cards, and it's a business.
It's relationships.
Yeah.
But if you don't go get that money, somebody else will get it.
Exactly.
That's it. The money's there.
We came out of there, and I don't know if Fofo's listening or not, but we came out of there the year before.
He listens. He really does.
And that's we're buddies.
Yeah.
We're buddies. But anyway, we came out of there a year ago with about $10 million, and Biloxi came out of there zip. Zip. I'm not going to get into why, but
I mean, let's talk. Your brother, AJ Holloway, will go down as was the mayor of Biloxi for years.
25 years.
That's your brother.
Yep.
That's crazy. I mean, I met AJ probably 3 or 4 times, and he had that iconic vibe of a mayor. Like, he just had that old school mayor where you're like, hey, it's kind of like Mike Reeder. Somebody bring back Mike Reeder So the weather, WLX back then.
Yeah.
But no, that was just cool. Like, did you ever get to? So did you ever learn anything from your brother, like while he was working over there in Biloxi?
Oh yeah. I got to watch that go on. 25 years, and AJ was a man of few words. He didn't tell you what he was thinking until he was 100% sure that he wanted to tell you. I remember a guy came out of his office one day, and we were passing in the hall, and I was going into his office, and he said, "Yeah, we just had a meeting with AJ. Been in there about 20 minutes." I said, "How'd that go?" And he said, "I don't know what he's thinking." I said, "That's because he don't want you to know what he's thinking yet. Once he wants you to know, he'll tell you." But I wish he was here today. He died too soon. Dementia got him. Horrible disease. But I sure could use his counsel at times. Sure could.
Dementia took a lot of people from our
It's a
family.
terrible disease, man. It's a
So
terrible way to
we're
go.
talking about we're talking about the shelter.
Well, as my cousin would say, I might get voted off the island for saying this. But the Lord is my help is back here, and I love the cause of it, But we see a lot, and so do our neighbors. You have your homeless people who are looking for somewhere to sleep and get food, and they want to stay dry somewhere, and they're concerned. And that's the ones you have empathy for and you want to help. But then you got your other ones that are out here just dancing in the street,
Talking to
looking for
himself.
the next hit and soliciting all the, shaking down the tourists. And, like the sweetheart across the way said, one of the ladies was trying to break in her front door. I mean, it's just a lot. And I hate to see the tourists see that, kind of like what happens in New Orleans when you're in the Jackson Square. And I just didn't know. I mean, I don't know the dynamic. Is there a way to relocate that? I mean, the calls could still be there, but just not be right here where everybody. I mean, this is our tourism district. This is the heart of the city.
Yeah. They the majority of the work they do is not homeless. Feeding the homeless.
That's what we
20%
noticed.
is homeless.
You know,
the rest of people is getting free
Yeah,
food.
most people
Yeah.
are pulling up in
That's
their cars and getting free food.
Argument also. I mean, I'm over here selling food. I mean,
I don't think they sell food. I think it's
no, I'm
mostly.
saying I'm selling.
Oh, you're selling
And
food.
80% of them are pulling up. I see the landscaping companies roll in and feed their whole staff.
Oh, really?
It's just
Yeah.
like in the park. And
Yeah.
I mean,
So
that's a whole nother.
that is a very difficult situation. When I was elected mayor, I promised to start a homeless coalition to try to research and figure it out, and we did. We had some community leaders that stepped up. Joe Cloyd, Melanie Allen, Alwyn Lucky, Dr. Barnett, and led this coalition. We learned a lot, but we also learned a lot about what we had no control over. Homeless, you've got three different categories. You've got the people who just don't want to live in a house. They like that urban camping. You got the mentally ill, and then you got the drug abusers.
Yeah.
You try to help the mentally ill through nonprofits and other organizations. The people who just don't want to live in a house, typically they aren't the problem. The drug abusers are the problem.
Yeah.
And that's the people we don't want in our town. The Supreme Court just ruled in Mississippi. The legislature's got a bill right now that camping outside will be illegal, and we can move folks now, whereas at one point, if they were in a public place, you couldn't move them because they had a right to be there just as well as a taxpayer, a regular citizen did.
Right.
But now you can move them along. Really, what needs to happen is there needs to be a shelter, a regional shelter, I think, where the homeless can go and they can take care of their hygiene, wash their clothes, get a meal, spend the night if you want, but they've got to be able to transition out of that into a job. There are plenty jobs.
Yeah.
There are plenty jobs. I don't know. I mean, it's not just here. I mean, truthfully, we have our homeless population is not as large as other locations on the coast, and they're not as abrasive and I'll say not abrasive, aggressive as they are in other cities.
Yeah.
I've heard some horror stories in Gulfport.
Yeah, I will say that. Yeah.
But it's a tough thing to crack. It really is.
Well, I figured it had a lot of bureaucracy surrounding it. Like I see what we see in.
No, I've seen it myself. I mean,
But some of these folks that are panhandling, they're making good money.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, they're making
that
good
is a
money.
fact there.
And they just drop, they walk in
Yeah, that's
and they
fact.
walk out. And when they walk out, they get in a vehicle and they drive off,
That's it.
Just the thing is like I got friends investing here, and obviously I'm promoting it. And, one of them will come here, and I can throw them out, but you can't. When they see that, I'm like, that had never happened. I swear. It's just, I just hate that it's on Front Street like that. Like it's just so unique that the pantry's right here. And I don't know the dynamic of that building because that thing turns into a nightclub sometimes too.
That building's
During
owned
festivals
by
and
an
stuff.
organization that's not local.
Okay.
And I think their mission is to do exactly what they're doing there.
Okay.
And I may not be totally correct on this, but it's some type of brotherhood. And I think they're headquartered up in the Northeast somewhere.
Okay.
They're aggressive on they're aggressive on parking, like sublet.
Well, so when the rule will be when the structure is complete, I have to have that parking lot zoned off and parking spots for such and such in 11, and they still got stuff out there, so I haven't been in a hurry. But we can't even use the parking lot we're paying for because they all pile up in there. And
Well, you can have them move from there.
I've been trying to have empathy about it because, well, I don't have it labeled yet, but parking's just getting more and more difficult. But when the garage opens, I know it'll be a lot easier.
What we have to do, I think, with the parking is we have to do a better way. It's called wayfinding.
Okay.
A better way of signage to direct people to the available parking spaces that we have, the parking lots. Because if you're new into Ocean Springs, you drive in, you don't know where to go. You don't know where the parking is. You revert back to Oxford, those are pretty well marked parking lots. And they have parking meters.
I think.
And I'm not sure if we're ready for parking meters right now, but eventually it probably is going to happen.
I'm thinking we might be.
I was gonna ask that. Yeah.
With the signage, while you just mentioned it, I did have some requests from some of my retail girls. They thought that there should be more signage consecutively along the way showing retail, because the street's growing this way, obviously, especially with 1515. And they were just requesting that they know there's somewhere to go after Tater Nuts. You know what I mean? I don't know how that would look. Kind of like.
So Government Street's going to just fully be. It's going to eventually be all downtown. It's going to be full.
Yeah.
Wait, what?
We're getting ready to mill and pave Government Street from Brooms to Loveless, or Chandler Outfitters now. We're going to come through. We're going to take all this old asphalt, grind it up, drop it down a little bit, and then repave it and restripe it. for parking. And down by Tato Nut in that pinch point there, we're going to put golf cart parking on one side only. We're going to have loading zones at certain times of the
Loading
day.
zones is amazing.
So, when the trucks come through at 9 in the morning or 8 in the morning, whatever, we'll probably have it from 8 to 10 loading zones where they can pull in, unload, load you up, and then move on.
That would be
Don't
huge.
make it the yellow brick road.
Yeah.
They'll know. Well, I think that would make a lot of people happy.
That seems huge.
Yeah, that'd be a big project.
Yeah.
Well, seems like you want to come on for part 2?
Yeah.
It'd be good. I definitely do. We can continue to go if you want to go.
Well, I wanted to say that, you told me the voter turnout is usually about 4,500.
That's what is expected at this point. Yes.
So tentatively, 2,500 could win an election. So there's an idea that you have the support, but your people didn't vote. There's an idea there, right? I mean, I just wanted to tell everybody to make a change, you got to vote local. And if you want to make a bigger change, run for office. But otherwise, you need to vote local. So, if it messes with your workout that day or your kid's t-ball, it's worth it to vote local. Because I would imagine a spread, could be a couple hundred votes.
Yep.
I've seen it where
So we're
it's
talking about a
15.
neighborhood.
Let me tell you
We're
this.
talking about
When my brother,
your friends didn't show up.
when my brother was first elected mayor of Biloxi, he won by 17 votes. 17 votes. So yeah, your vote counts.
It's huge.
Yeah, I got my voter ID card. I flex it on everybody.
Yeah.
And it's your right. It's your constitutional right. You should exercise that. And,
If you're not voting, you don't get to say anything about anything.
Exactly.
that's not true.
Like, well, you shouldn't be able to say.
You should be able to say.
What is this QR code? Is there a way we can put that on the in the comments? Or?
Yeah, that takes you straight to my website.
Okay. Well,
I felt good about it.
yes, it's been great.
I learned a lot.
Learned a lot. Yeah.
Who do we have this next? We have Jeremy Nell and Mike Nell. That's Thursday, 13th, right?
Yep.
Oh,
Thursday.
guys, tune in. I love y'all, but I'm about to listen to some music, hang out with my boys. We're doing this podcast.
That's what we do.
Mayor Holloway is the man.
All right, love you guys.
Thank y'all.
Yeah,
Appreciate
thank
it.
Thank you
y'all.
so much.
Enjoyed it.